Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be going through a few tricks and tips in order to pass your mathematics exam. For those of you sitting the CXC Mathematics Paper 1 on Monday the 27th. But for those of you sitting the Mathematics 2020 May-June Paper 1, this would really help you, and these are things that I've gathered over the years of sitting exams, sitting mathematics exam, paper 1 exams, multiple choice questions. So I really do hope this helps you. Before we go ahead, please remember to click the subscribe button so you know when I release new videos, and also hit the notification bell. If I'm looking down because I'll be looking at my book. Okay, so the first tip that I have is for you to have a good night's sleep. It is so important for you to have a good night rest, and it is recommended to have 7 to 8 hours of rest. This ensure that you're nice, calm, and relaxed before you go into the exam room, because you don't want to be like me, studying all through the night, and then you walk into an exam room and then you kind of in a state of panic and you can't remember what you studied. And no, so it's very important that you have a good night rest. The second point that I have is for you to be prepared, to ensure that you're ready for your exam. This means that you have done all of your revisions already, you've run through all of the past papers that you possibly can, you've memorized whatever you need to memorize, practice as much as you can, gone through all of your notes and everything, because in the exam it's all or nothing. Okay, so it's very important that you are prepared to sit the exam on Monday. Ensure that you know how to do basic multiplication and division, subtraction, addition, etc. Because remember, your paper is non-calculator, so you cannot just pop onto your calculator to do your multiplication. So it's very important that you know how to multiply, divide by hand, obviously, and that will really help you in the exam, because majority of the question, it's mathematics, so majority of the question you'll have to either do your own addition or multiplication or division. So it's very important that you know how to do that. The fourth point is to try your best to know as much of the formulas as you possibly can. Learn all of your formulas, or most of them. In the paper, I know you are given, on the second page of the paper, you're given all of the formulas that are usually in the exam. But if you're right, like you have 1 hour, 1.5 hours to do your paper. So imagine if this is your paper, right, and you're working a question, then you need to go back to the start of the paper to search for your formula, and then you're back and forth, back and forth. That's gonna, it's time, too much time. So I highly recommend, it might be a bit too late, but if you can, try to learn as much of the formulas that you can, especially the basic formulas. Don't take them for granted, especially like how to calculate the area of a triangle, the area of a segment. Do not take it for granted. If you can, try to remember as much as you can, okay? And don't cram it. Try to actually remember it. The fifth point is to remain calm, okay? Remain calm. You've studied, you've gone through your past papers, you've gone through your notes, you've learned your formulas, you know how to do your basics of everything, whatever, what's not. But if you did to prepare, you're in the exam room now. Try to be as calm as possible. Do not panic, because panic does nothing for you. It actually does not do anything good for you. So just remain as calm as possible. This is it. Like, it's either you pass or you fail. God forbid you will not fail, but panic does nothing for you. So remain as calm as you possibly can, okay? Point number 6. You're now sitting in your table. The examiners went around, whatever they need to do. You've got your paper. Exam has started. First thing you do is, no, you don't start working. You read your instructions and you read your question properly. You read your questions thoroughly read your questions, because in some of the question words, there's a play on words for some of them. They might ask you to calculate or state which sets is not not included, included, like stuff like that. Simple things can make you either pass or fail. So it's very important that you read through your question thoroughly before you even begin to answer the question. Next point, which I think is point number 7, is after you've read your question, try to make an educated guess. Okay, so you've read your question, and before you even look at the options that they've provided, make an educated guess. If they're asking you what is 4 multiplied by 2, okay, 4 multiplied by 2, that's possibly 8. So you cover your answer and you look through now. Okay, you already have 8 in your head. Look through for the option of 8. And if there's an option of 8, then most likely you're correct. Okay, I'm not saying all the cases, but in this case, 4 times 2 is 8, yeah? So it's best to make an educated guess, or more or less make an approximate, an average of what the answer should be, or the approximation of what your answer should be, the bracket of where your answer should be in, so that now when you look at your options, you can, you deduce and you can say, okay, my answer should be in the bracket of between 5 and 7, and you find your answer. It's best to make an educated guess before you actually look at the options. Point number 8, use the method of elimination. I'm sure most of you probably already know of this. So after you've read your question, you go through your options, and you start taking out answers that are most unlikely to be the answer. So once again, if they ask you 4 times 2 is what? If you have 100 as the answer, it's not going to be 100. Like 4 times 2 can never be 100, so that is out straight. 4 times 2, if they give you 3 as an option, like that is out, because 4 times 2, 4 is already more than 3, so 3 is not an option. So you start eliminating answers, and then you might probably left with 1 or 2 options left, and then you can work through 4 times 2, and you actually work it through to see what gives you the answer. So I would highly recommend that you use the method of elimination in order to get the correct answer, or to at least simplify it to 2 options before you try to solve it. You have 1.5 hours. You don't have time to go through all of the options one by one to see which is the correct one. Okay, so anything that you can do to shorten the amount of time you spend on one question, do it. Next point number 9, it's to analyze the answers correctly. So this is very important. In questions, you might be asked to divide 1001 divided by 10. 1001 divided by 10. You might have an answer as 100.1 or 101.0. You see how close the answers are? 100.1, 101.0. Yeah, point is point number 10. It's to keep your eyes on the time. You have 1 hour 90 minutes, and if you're to divide that, let's divide that actually. So we have 1 hour 30 minutes. 1 hour 30 minutes. Sorry, 1 hour 30 minutes is actually 90 minutes. Yeah, 90. And if we're to divide 90 by, we have 60 questions in the exam, 60. That means we have 1.5 minute per a question. 1.5 minutes per question. Some questions you don't even need a full minute. Some questions might just need like 40 seconds, 30 seconds. Like if they're asking you to divide 1000 divided by 10, like that's 100. You already know that. That's quick, one bam, like 20 seconds. But if you have like wordy question, profit and loss questions, and questions that you might need to project a graph onto the X and Y axis and calculate the gradient. Sorry if I'm moving my hands too much. Yes, that you might need to find the X and Y or find the gradient for a question. Questions like that, they're a bit more lengthy and wordy, so you might need to spend probably like 2 minutes on one of those questions. So it's very important that you budget your time, if I must say budget your time. So some questions try to spend 30 seconds. Small, the easier questions, you spend like 30 seconds on them, where the questions you need to put in the time. You have to read the question, you have to read it thoroughly, read through the answers, take not as much, but be reasonable with your time, and always keep your eyes on the clock. There should be clocks in the exam room. Keep your eyes on them. Don't get your head down in your book and just be working, and then you look up and then it's like 15 minutes remaining and you're still at question 40. No, I personally try to look up at every 15 minutes, 10 minutes, probably not 10 but 15 minutes. Yeah, I'd say 10, 15 minutes, and keep yourself on track. I know that if I need to finish my exam within 1.5 hours and I have 1.5 minutes per one question, then at question 10 I should be, let's say, 10-15 minutes. I would try to, by the time I'm at question 10, it should be like 50 minutes into the exam room if I'm at question 10. 50 minutes top. Okay, so by question 20 it's 30 minutes, question 30, and it goes on and on. So you're always on track. And if you're on track with your time, then that means at the end of the exam, or when you're finished with your questions, your exam, you would have probably like 15 minutes remaining in order for you to go through back your exam paper and ensure you have everything correct. Because the worst thing that can happen to anyone is you're at question 45 and you have 5 minutes remaining. No. That's not good for anybody. It's not good for your mental health. It's not good for your grades. No. So keep your eyes on the time. Try to at least have 15 minutes remaining at the end of the exam to go over back your paper. Ensure you've answered all of the questions. That's another important point. Ensure you've answered all of the questions. Yeah? Don't skip. Don't skip and come back and skip and come back. If you might not be able to answer the question at the set time, then put a mark on the answering sheet, an X or something, to know that you did not answer the question. Because a mistake that we commonly make, all students commonly make, is that you say, I'm going to come back to this question, yeah? And then you read through the next question, and then you go back to the answering sheet and you circle the answer for question 13 on answer 12, on the answer sheet for question 12. Don't do it. So put a mark to symbolize that, okay, no, I've not finished that. Put a mark on your actual test paper sheet as well. No, I haven't finished that, so that you know that you need to come back to that question, yeah? Point 11 now. Stay hydrated. Talking about hydration, let's have some water. Yes. You should be able to take a bottle of water into the exam room. And while you're working, if you're on budget with your time and so on, have a sip of water and just have a breather and keep on pushing. Keep yourself hydrated, keep your blood flowing, and breathe. Moving on to point 12, and we have, that's to never leave a question empty. It is 60 questions, multiple choice questions, so the options are either A, B, C, or D. It's multiple choice question, even if you don't know the answer, make an educated guess. If you actually really and truly, you didn't study this topic, you have no idea what it's about, just make a guess, shade an option. To Inky Pinky Panky, Daddy buy a donkey, donkey dead, Daddy cry, Inky Pinky Panky more. Do whatever you need to do in order to get an answer down on that paper. Don't ever leave a question empty. Because sometimes luck is just on your side and you might actually get the question correct. That might be the mark between you passing and you failing. So just answer a question. Personally, I don't care what it is. If it's a multiple choice question or it's an actual essay type question, I don't leave questions blank on an exam unless I'm running out of time and I have no option than to leave it blank. I don't do it. Speaking from experience, I had an exam. It was a essay type question and it was 10 marks. I did not study for that particular question because I was like, you know what, it's not gonna come on the exam. We didn't really do it in class. The teacher only gave us, little insight. It's not gonna come on the exam. Guess what? Guess who came for the exam? That same question. And guess who wrote 10 marks worth of answer? I did. And I got 80 something on this exam, and I know very well I did not get full marks for the rest of the papers. So I had to have at least 1 or 2 marks from that question that I answered. That's just to say, no matter what, if it's maths multiple choice or it's an English A or English B paper, social studies, don't ever leave a paper blank. Write something. If they're asking you to describe a cow, you don't know how a cow is, describe a horse. Like they both have a tail. Describe the closest thing to your mind to what they're speaking about. Back to multiple choice questions, yeah? It's 4 options, just choose one, yeah? Whatever rolls your boat, inky pinky panky, whatever rolls your boat, just choose an option. Number 13. Be confident that you've done enough. This is at the end of the paper. The examiners probably told you have like 5 marks remaining, and you're like, we're at the end of the exam. And then you kind of start double guessing yourself and you start panicking. And then you're like, I probably failed this exam. I probably didn't do as well. And then you start second guessing. Then you go home and you sleep. You can't sleep because you think you failed the exam. Don't do that. It's not healthy. It's not good for you. Just be confident that what you've done is enough. Wait until the exam results comes out and you know whether you pass or you fail, or hopefully you pass. But just be confident in what you've done and have some faith. Yeah, just have some faith. Relax. It's the end of the exam. Go sit, have some ice cream, and eat. I'm all for eating. Yeah, go and eat. Have a good time. You've done what you can. It's the end of the exam. It's finished. There's nothing else you can do. They've collected the papers. You cannot change an answer. So just be confident in what you've done. Be proud of yourself. Yeah? Be proud, be confident, and relax. There's nothing else you can do. And that is about it for the tips and tricks that I have for you to answer your mathematics paper 1 multiple choice type questions. And I cannot think of anything else in my head that I can possibly say, but I just want to wish anyone sitting their exams, whether it's mathematics or any other multiple choice type questions, any other exam, I wish you the best of luck. And I hope you've studied and you've revised, because if you don't study, then there's nothing in here. So study, make the best out of your time. And remember to have a good night's sleep before you go into the exam. Don't go into the exam tired and stressed and overwhelmed. Enjoy your night's sleep before the exam. A good night's sleep. Have a good breakfast. Eat. Have a good breakfast. Have a cup of tea. And go into that exam and ace it. Okay? Because remember, maths ain't got nothing on you. Alright? So that is it for this week's video. I hope you've enjoyed it. I hope I've given you a few good tips and tricks in order to pass your exam, and all the best on your exam. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe and leave a comment if you have any other advice to give fellow students or anything that you've learned from experience. Be sure to leave it in the comment section below. For now, thank you so much and see you next time. Bye.